was 13 years old when I met a predator, a monster. Not in a haunted house, not as a character in a movie, but online. He kidnapped me, chained me in a basement, and live-streamed my abuse to the world. In this Halloween, while we're talking about ghosts and vampires, I want to talk about the real monsters. The ones who don't need fangs or masks to destroy lives. So, it's Halloween, the time of year when we celebrate everything spooky. Ghosts, vampires, werewolves, and mask killers fill our screens, and they fill our streets. We watch horror movies, love them. We pay to be scared. We want to be scared. We light our pumpkins. We tell ghost stories. And we laugh, because we know it's not real. But the truth is, the scariest monsters, they don't live in haunted houses or in dark forests. They live among us. They're all around us in our everyday world. The difference is, the monsters in movies, they're fiction. But the ones I'm talking about, they're real. And I know, because I met one. But before we go any further, I really want to explain something. Because it's Halloween, I'm going to call them monsters. The predators, the offenders, the people who hurt others. But they're not supernatural, and they don't have magical powers. They're not invincible or impossible to defeat. They're just people. Weak, broken, puny humans who can be taken down. When I was younger, I used to call the man who kidnapped me Monster. I used it as his name. It made sense. It helped me process something that was just too evil to understand. And it allowed me to believe that he wasn't like other people, that he couldn't be. But over time, I realized that he wasn't a creature from the dark. He was just a man with terrible desires who made awful choices. And when we strip away the myth and see predators for what they are, manipulators, liars, and cowards, we take away their power. Still, the word monster does fit in one way, because what they do, what they choose to do, is truly monstrous. So throughout this video, when I use that word, monster, it's not to make them larger than life. Remember, they are human enough to stop, and more importantly, they are human enough to stop themselves. Now, we love stories about monsters because deep down, we understand fear. We know what fear feels like, and it's thrilling when it's safe. When you can walk out of the movie theater and remind yourself that it is all pretend. We have characters that you absolutely know, like Freddy Krueger, Michael Myers, Pennywise. We know their faces. We recognize the patterns, the ominous music, the slow footsteps, even the flicker of light. But real monsters, they don't really announce themselves. They don't pop out of the shadows necessarily with a knife or with a jump scare. They often come with a smile. They come with compliments, and they even come with friendship, or what feels like friendship. And the danger is, they don't need to find you in a dark alley anymore. They can find you right in your own home through your screen. I was thinking today how we often say monsters go bump in the night, but really what they're doing is going click, 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 or tap, tap, tap. And like I said, when I was 13 years old, I met a predator, a monster, online. I was the first known case of a child to be kidnapped by an online predator. And he didn't act like the monsters in the movies. He acted like somebody who cared, somebody who understood me. And he made me feel special. He told me I was beautiful. He made me feel like I could trust him, as so many of these monsters do. And he learned everything about me, what I liked, what made me sad, what made me feel invisible. And then he used all of that against me. And one day, after I'd been groomed, I agreed to meet him. And that's when my story changed from my ho-hum safe little life to horror. He kidnapped me. He took me to another state. He locked me in his basement and he chained me to the floor. And he live streamed that abuse online. I know that sounds like a movie plot. It does. It sounds like it's straight out of a movie. But that was my reality. And after days, the FBI rescued me, thanks to a viewer who saw that live stream and reported it. And that's the moment that changed everything. I survived. But survival wasn't the end of my story. It was the beginning. And since then, I've dedicated my life to helping make sure that no child or family ever experiences what I did. And over the past 20 plus years, I've met countless others who have faced down their own monsters. The ones who don't just haunt dreams and stay under the bed, but like I said, they destroy lives. I've presented to audiences all over the world, educating them on the dangers of the internet and dangers offline. I've worked with law enforcement, the FBI. I've been in the trenches with them. I work with legislators on my namesake, Alicia's Law, which gives law enforcement the funding that they need to track down and arrest online predators. And it's passed in 13 states so far. And it's saving children's lives. But tonight, as we put on our costumes and we celebrate Halloween, I want to remind everyone, especially parents, that some monsters don't wear masks just one night of the year. They wear them every single day. Often they are really, really charming. They can be smart, and they can look like absolutely anyone. A neighbor, a teacher, a friend, and really they are just a someone. But they all have one thing in common. They hide behind deceptive masks of trust. When you were a kid, you may have been too young to even get into a haunted house. But now children are carrying one in their pocket every single day. A haunted house with unlimited doors and unknown rooms. And that is the internet. Behind each door, yeah, it could be a friend, or it could be a predator pretending to be one. Behind another could be a platform filled with content that looks safe, but hides danger. And in yet another, a gaming chat where a stranger learns your child's name, school, their favorite hobbies, one little message at a time. The monsters of today, they don't need to break into your home. They just need your child to respond. And I want to tell every single parent out there, you don't need to be perfect. You can't possibly be. You really just need to be present. Ask questions, monitor what your children are doing, and be curious. And most importantly, create an environment where your child knows that they can come to you without fear, without judgment, without you being disappointed, even if they've made a mistake online. Because monsters, they thrive in silence. They thrive in that silence. They feed on that shame. And the moment a child feels too afraid, too embarrassed, too ashamed to tell somebody what's happening, that's when the danger grows. That's when the predator's winning. But how do you recognize a digital predator? How do you recognize somebody who is wearing that mask, who is hiding behind that trust, who doesn't seem or act or behave or feel like a monster at all? Well, it's not as easy as spotting fangs or claws. But here's what real grooming can look like. First, they build trust. They might talk to a child for weeks or months before ever suggesting anything appropriate. And then they isolate. They'll make the child feel special, saying things like, your parents don't understand you, but I do. They normalize. They slowly push boundaries, breaking down those boundaries, maybe they do it through jokes or harmless seeming photos, something that the child feels comfortable with, and starts just slowly chipping away at those boundaries and values that you work so hard to instill in them. And they manipulate. They use guilt, they use fear, they use affection to control the child. And then they exploit. Once the child is under their control, they then may ask for photos or even arrange to meet in person. And all the while that this is happening, often the child doesn't even realize that they're in any danger. They don't see any red flags, they aren't concerned. They don't even know to go for help yet. And that's the terrifying thing about these real monsters. They rewrite the story so the victim feels safe at first. Now, Halloween gives us permission to face our fears, to play with them, to laugh at them, to even dress up as them. But when it comes to real monsters, we have to do more than face them. We have to fight them. Not with pitchforks or holy water, but with education, awareness, and action. When we talk to kids about online safety, we're not ruining their fun, we are protecting them. When we teach about those red flags that they can spot, that's not fear-mongering, it's empowering them. And when we choose to stand together, parents, educators, law enforcement, advocates, communities, we're stronger than any monster that hides behind a screen. And here are a few simple, powerful things that you can do starting tonight. So talk to your child. Talk early and talk often. You don't need to wait until your child is a teenager, and you definitely cannot, should not, do not do that to talk about online safety. Start as soon as they use a device. In fact, start before. Keep it ongoing. Don't have just one big talk, but have lots of small ones as they grow. And then you need to know their digital world. Yes, it is big. It's a really, really big world. But you need to know. Ask what apps they're using, who they talk to, watch how they play games online. You don't have to spy on them, and please don't spy on them. Monitoring is not spying. Spying is trying to catch your child in something, and monitoring is protecting them from the dangers. It's not about calling them out when they do something that you don't approve of. It's about keeping them safe when something bad happens to them or is about to happen to them. So just really stay involved and teach them that no secret that's ever given to them should ever make them feel scared, sad, uncomfortable, or unsafe. Predators often say, "This is our secret." And that phrase should always be a red flag. There are no secrets. Keep devices out of bedrooms at night. This is a big one. Because most grooming happens when parents are asleep, when your child has free access to the internet, and predators know this. And then this one, important and difficult. Model the good behavior. Kids learn from what they see, and if you're glued to your phone, they're going to be too. So show them what healthy online habits look like. And lastly, know the resources that are available to you. Don't hesitate to report or to get help. If something feels wrong, report it to law enforcement immediately. Over the years, I've worked with countless survivors, and I've heard countless stories that have never made it to the news. Kids who were lured, blackmailed, or extorted because of one photo, one message, one simple moment. And some survived, and some didn't. And that's why I'll never stop talking about this. Because every child deserves to live in a world where the scariest thing about Halloween is a haunted house, not the internet. In a movie, the monsters are often hiding somewhere. You go into the no trespassing zone, the dark alley, the spooky house, whatever it might be. But the thing is, with the internet, they're out there. They're on social media, they're on the gaming platforms, they're on the learning applications. They are everywhere. They are going to be where the kids are. But it's important to know that we can stop them. And it starts by bringing the truth out of the dark that they so badly want to hide in. And I've dedicated my life to this because I remember the little girl that I was. I was scared, alone, chained to the floor. And I know that there are children out there right now who are still waiting for somebody to save them. When I was a kid, I loved Halloween. It was so much fun. I was always, though, the kid who did not want to go up and knock on the doors of the scary houses. Like, the cute decorations, sure. The one that had the jump scares or the scary person opening the door, nope, way too scary. My friends would go, I would follow behind, or they would bring me back the candy. And when I was a kid, Halloween was about costumes and candy, and it was about laughter. But now it's important to remember how easily people can disguise themselves online and off. But like I said, we can do something about this. We can fight back. And that is, we can choose honesty, we can choose awareness, and we can choose to protect. So this Halloween, let's use this as a reminder that while the world dresses up as monsters, there are real monsters out there, but let's be something that is far more powerful. Let's be protectors. Let's be people who stand up. Let's be people who see through the masks and know that there are people who wear the masks. Let's protect our children. If you're a parent, talk to your kids. If you're a teacher, talk to your students. If you're a lawmaker, fund the investigations. Pass Alicia's law. And if you're a tech company, please, you can always strive to do better, because algorithms should not be more protected than our children. Halloween may be all about fear and fun, but it's also about transformation. We face what scares us. We laugh in the dark. We take power back from the things that once haunted us. And that's what I want to leave you with. Hope. Hope that together we can create a safer digital world, and hope that one day children will be protected from the monsters. I'm Alicia Kozak. I was abducted when I was 13, but I'm here today. Not as a victim, but as a survivor, as an advocate, and as a voice for those who can't yet speak. And that's why I wrote my book, the Internet Safety Guidebook, Protecting Kids in the Digital Age. It's the resource that I wish existed when I was a child. It's a guide to help parents understand the online world and protect those that they love. And it's available on Amazon. So this Halloween, when you see the ghosts and the goblins and the masks and the monsters, remember that real evil, it doesn't always look like the movies. In fact, it rarely does. But neither does real courage. And it's the little choices that you make every single day that make you courageous. So choose to be the light. Choose to be the light that shines through that dark. And hey, have a fun and safe Halloween. Happy Halloween, everyone.